I am going to be working through all of the blocks on the Bliss Quilt Along. These quilt blocks and all of the instructions are coming in the Sew Sampler through the Fat Quarter Shop. However, after each Sew Sampler is released with the block, you can purchase the block individually if you would like to, and I'll put a link through to it in the description of this video. So I do have the first block finished, and I am going to show clips of me working through this block completely. However, it is going to be a little bit different this time around because what I'm going to be doing is reading a story from a subscriber on my channel. If you would like to hear your quilt journey read, you can send me your quilt journey and some pictures of your quilts to the email in the description of this video. So what I'm going to be looking for is stories on how you got started with quilting, maybe things you've learned about quilting, one of your favorite quilt retreats, one of your favorite quilts that you made, whatever you would like. I would love to hear about it, and then I can pick it to read on my channel here as I work through one of these blocks. So today I'm going to be reading Susan O'Neill Smith's quilting journey. Now, if you would like to hear all of the upcoming stories, please subscribe to my channel and be sure to turn on that notification bell. You'll look for the Bliss Quilt Along, and that'll tell you that it is the next story in the series. Let's get sewing. So during the first block in the Blissful Quilt Along, I'm going to be reading you Susan O'Neill Smith's email. And Susan is in the Houston area of Texas, so this is the perfect one to be reading because I too am in the Houston area of Texas. So this is her email talking about her journey into starting quilting. My journey into quilting began in April of 2020 with learning how to make the face masks that we all realized we needed on a daily basis. I had a Singer sewing machine, maybe 5 to 10 years old, so I got that out and set it up in the upstairs game room, and my youngest daughter Ashlyn and I set out to make as many masks as we could. Ashlyn was 25 at the time, living and working in Boston, but was furloughed from her job in the hotel industry, so had flown down and began quarantining with us here in Houston. I was teaching 3rd grade at the time, so we were balancing all of this as I was learning how to move to an online classroom. Melanie Ham had taught both of us how to crochet when Ashlyn was in college, so we turned to her for a mask tutorial. Ashlyn and I went to Joann's and purchased our fabric, like I'm sure many of you did, and we ended up making over 300 masks. That took us into May, and then Melanie and her mother started a quilt along, which consisted of rows of houses in rows called the Stay at Home Quilt Along. Given that we were all, of course, staying at home, we downloaded the requirements and started gathering supplies. A jelly roll? We had no clue what that was. Background fabric, batting, binding, all brand new terms for us. But Melanie had guided us through so many projects over the years, so we did our research and bought what we needed. Online, of course, because we didn't leave our home much at all during those months. We also decided to go ahead and make not 2, but 4 quilts, one for each of us, and one for each of her sisters and their partners. So we asked them to get online, search fabric jelly rolls, and select one for their houses. They also each chose their sky fabric, but we ended up selecting the sidewalk border and backing for each of them. Then Melanie and her mother Lisa would upload tutorials, and we followed along, and slowly our houses began to take shape. Cutting instructions, how to keep everything organized for each house, it was a lot to take in, but Melanie was the best teacher I could possibly imagine, and although she isn't with us anymore, we still go to her for tutorials and best practices. She is dearly missed. Over the next few months, the quilts slowly began to take shape, and I think seeing them come together is what made us fall in love with the process. To take so many different pieces of fabric and make them look like houses, it was magical. In the end, we used a long armor for the quilting, and gifted them all at Christmas. They are still our most loved quilts and always will be. The rest, as they say, is history. I found that so many wonderful people like Fallon were on YouTube and offered tutorials, sewing tips, box openings, and another new thing we loved, sewing subscriptions. So our journey continues today. I ended up buying a Juki like Melanie's that had a larger throat space so that I could quilt my own, and it was a great choice. The quilting bug bit us hard, and we are so thankful that it did. I've met so many wonderful people through quilting and look forward to continuing quilting and sewing with Fallon and all of you. Wasn't that just a wonderful email? I can agree and attest that Melanie was a great teacher with so many different crafts, and I will definitely miss her videos as well. I loved watching them, and she most definitely was a great teacher. Thank you so much, Susan, for sharing your journey with us, and it was just a beautiful, beautiful story, and the quilts that you all made are just amazing as well. Thank you so much. And again, if you would like to send me an email with your quilting story, whether it be about how you got started, a story about your favorite quilt, maybe a quilt that you struggled the most through but are so proud of because you finished it. Anything that you can think of, tips about quilting are wonderful as well. So I would love to hear from you. If you have a story to tell, my email will be down in the description of this video. So here's the first block in the quilt along. It turned out so good. I actually got the kit so that I could use all the same colors in the pattern, and they are just beautiful together. So leave me a comment below if you are working on this quilt along from the Fat Quarter Shop Sew Sampler blocks, and I will see you next time. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.